Are you on the hunt for your next travel destination? Are you looking to travel to a place unlike one you've ever been to? A place that's filled with unique and absolutely stunning landscape? Or maybe you're a huge Cristiano Ronaldo fan and want to see where the all-time great came from. Well, I've got the perfect place for you, Madeira. And before we kick it off into the first place, make sure to like and subscribe if you want to discover your next travel destination. An underrated place to visit in Madeira isn't exactly thought of as a destination that first comes to people's minds when they think of Madeira. It's the largest city on the island and the birthplace of the second best footballer of the modern era, Funchal. I recommend making this your home base as it's a city of over 100,000 people, so by far has the most development and convenience, and it's about an hour drive from most of the other destinations on the island. The city itself is sprawling on a slope facing the Atlantic Ocean that is filled with classic modern Portuguese houses, old style houses and buildings with banana trees and other vegetation in between. You can spend a full day exploring the old town, which is a pretty standard European old town, trying local foods, passing the time in plazas, trying local wine or the local alcohol poncha. Beyond that, I recommend taking the teleférico or the gondola up to the Mont Palace Tropical Botanical Garden, which is ranked by Condé Nast as one of the 13 most beautiful botanical gardens in the world. It's a beautiful and peaceful garden filled with lush vegetation from all over the world and perfectly curated into various sections. The crown jewel of the park is the Mont Palace, which is stunning. When you've had your fill of the garden and are ready to return to the town center, make sure to take the wicker toboggan sled down. Just be prepared to wait for up to an hour, as this is a very popular thing to do and it costs about 30 euros for 2 people. Overall, I give Funchal a 8.25 out of 10. It's an essential part of visiting the island and a good way to get situated, and it has a lot to do and see from a cultural perspective, and I'd say it warrants a full day. The next place I recommend is a little town nestled within a beautiful and lush valley about 20 to 30 minutes west of Funchal on the southwest coast, Ponta de Sol. This sunny, small, cute town is a great place to stay if you want to be close to the airport and Funchal without being in the hustle and bustle. I think the best thing to do here is to watch the sunset from the beach, which is all stone, so make sure to bring some water shoes, although they nicely laid out wooden pathways and platforms with umbrellas for your convenience. The sunset is over the ocean, so you have a beautiful viewpoint. There's also a waterfall to hike over to and one that you actually can drive through. Ponta do Sol is a really nice little stop and I give it an 8 out of 10. It's a great place for the sunset and to spend some time during the day for the beach, and it's a little bit more quiet that's still close to the major sites, but it could be a bit boring if you want more activity. One of the best things about being on an island is that not only are there sunsets, but also sunrises, and the next thing I recommend that you do is to visit the Pico do Arieiro for its sunrise. Pico do Arieiro is the third highest peak on Madeira at 1,818 meters. And it's one of the most popular, if not the most popular place to watch the sunrise on the island. The coolest thing about watching the sunrise here is that if you're lucky, you'll be standing over a sea of clouds, and when the sun peeks through for the first time of the day, the clouds will be bathed in orange, red, and yellow, making it an ethereal and truly unforgettable experience. A great thing about here as well is how easy it is. It's a 30-minute drive from Funchal, and the parking lot is a 2-minute walk from the point where you'll be watching the sunrise. I caution you to get there at least an hour earlier than the stated sunrise time, especially during peak season, as the parking lot can fill up pretty early. Overall, I give this experience a 9.7 out of 10 for being a truly magical and unforgettable experience while also being very obtainable. After watching the sunrise, I recommend that you hike to the island's highest point, Pico Ruivo, which is 1,862 meters high, and if you've been paying attention, you'll realize that that's only about 40 to 50 meters higher than Pico do Arieiro, so that means that the hike has a lot of ups and downs. It's a 7-kilometer one-way hike, and I personally found it challenging. It is an incredibly beautiful hike though that cuts right through the valley, and you walk through tunnels and you get to see all the lush, beautiful Madeiran scenery. I recommend that you wait a little bit longer to start the hike after sunrise because pretty much everyone starts at the same time, and there can be a lot of backup on the trail because this is one of the most popular hikes on the island. I also recommend that you hike only one way and take a cab back to Pico do Arieiro, which is about an hour ride and costs 70 euros. Overall, I give this hike a 9.25 out of 10. It's a beautiful hike and well worth doing. Just be prepared for a challenge. The next thing I recommend you do is visit a special little area called the Fanal Forest. This forest is located on the north side of the island, about an hour from Funchal, and contains the really special Ocotea trees with their twisted branches and gloomy and beautiful atmosphere. All the pictures you see of this area are with the looming fog, but the two times we tried to go there, once in the afternoon and once in the morning, it was a perfectly sunny and fogless day. I still think it's well worth visiting and relaxing here for a stroll, or just sitting and taking it all in. Just be prepared for a lot of cows. Overall, I give this area an 8.5 out of 10. It's well worth spending at least 30 minutes to a couple hours here. Just be prepared to see a lot of cows. We discovered an off the beaten path place to catch the sunset that we had never heard of before, and that's in the Ponta de Serra region that is filled with open fields and windmills to gaze upon the sunset, which is truly magical. And the best part is we pretty much had it all to ourselves, which is pretty rare for the island. You also get a nice viewpoint over the São Vicente Valley, and also if you're a drone pilot and or a photographer, you can't beat this location for sunset, and I personally had a lot of fun. Overall, I give this area a 8.25 out of 10. It's a peaceful experience to watch the sunset, and it's a photographer's paradise. The next experience I recommend is visiting São Vicente. It's a small, beautiful town on the northern coast of Madeira that's about a 30-minute drive from Funchal. Driving here from Funchal was maybe my favorite drive on the island because it's such a beautiful, lush, and unique landscape dotted with the classic Portuguese-style houses that brighten things up. The town is small but has a cute center to walk around, and you can grab some pastries, coffee, or even lunch. The town also has a nice beach that's made of rounded stone. A major highlight of the town is the beautiful and unique church that stands tall and overlooks the entire town and valley. It's worth it to either drive up or hike there to check it out, and you can get unparalleled views of the town and valley below. I give São Vicente a 8.5 out of 10. It's a great place to stop on your way from Funchal up to the northern coast and soak in the unmatched beauty of a quintessential Madeiran town. The next place I recommend is a place where an upcoming Star Wars movie was filmed and is one of my favorite towns on the entire island, Ribeira da Janela. It's another quiet, small coastal village situated within a lush valley that stretches out to the beach, which is dominated by some of, if not the most stunning rock formations on the entire island. It's well worth it to visit and sit on the completely rounded stone beach and take in the beautiful scenery, as well as stop in the town for a coffee. There's also a cool lookout point on top of the town that's worth going to, especially if you like to swing. I give this place a 9 out of 10 for being a special and quaint little town with incredible scenery, and it's probably worth spending at least an hour here on your way to some of the other places on the northern coast. If you're a fan of black sand beaches, I've got the place for you on Madeira, Seixal. It's about a 10-minute drive from São Vicente, and it may not be Iceland. Be sure to check my video about Iceland, by the way, but the beach is really beautiful and one, if not the only sanded beaches on the entire island. And it is considered black, but I'd say it's a little bit more dark gray. On top of being surrounded by beautiful scenery and the landscape to gaze upon, there's also a nice little waterfall to check out on the beach, and there's one that you can hike close to that's a little further off the beach. There's also a natural swimming pool. While not quite as epic as the next place I'm going to talk to you about, it's still pretty cool. The town is also nice and a cool place to stop for lunch or coffee if you want to take a break from the beach. Overall, I give Seixal an 8.25 out of 10. It's a really nice beach with some epic landscapes. and you could spend an hour up to a full day here. About 10 to 15 minutes away from Seixal is another one of my favorite towns on the island, Porto Moniz. The main thing to do here is to swim in the natural pools, which are pools created by volcanic rock. There are two sets of natural pools on the island, the more famous and more resorty one, and the more laid back and natural one. We went to the natural one, which seems to be almost completely natural except for one artificial wall, and is also completely free to enter and has a much cooler experience between the rocks. The more resorty one looks like a resort and kind of less natural, but it has a lot more amenities and more space. It's probably a bit obvious which one I prefer, but you can't go wrong with either. We also had a really nice lunch. Overall, I give this area a 9.25 out of 10 for being a really cool and relaxing and unique experience, and being a beautiful little town worth spending at least a few hours in. The next place I recommend is the second highest sea cliff in the world and the highest in Europe, standing at 580 meters tall, Cabo Girão. If you're afraid of heights, I don't quite recommend that you check this out, because all that separates you from the 580 meter precipitous drop is some glass, albeit very thick and sturdy glass, but this may trigger some. There's also a skywalk that you can take here, and honestly for me, it's just worth it to quickly check out this area and take in the beautiful coastal sea views. I give it an 8 out of 10 and recommend just a quick stop, probably 10 to 15 minutes. It's worth it for the views, and you can always say that you've been to the highest sea cliff in all of Europe. Another place worth quickly stopping at is on the northern coast, and this town's called Boaventura. It's a small, peaceful, not very touristy part of the island, situated in the lush, mountainous green surroundings. It's worth it to come here for a little bit and soak in the views and get a peace of mind. There's also a really nice cemetery to check out. Overall, I give this town a 7.5 out of 10. I wouldn't spend too much time here, but it's worth a stop on your drive across the northern coast. The next place is another great place to check out and to get some exercise and see a completely different landscape from the rest of the island. It's Ponta de São Lourenço, also referred to as the Dragon's Tail. This arid cape at the easternmost tip of the island has incredible and dramatic scenery. The trail can be very sunny and windy, so you may want to start earlier in the day, which also helps you avoid crowds. It's also a really nice place to watch the sunrise. The hike is moderate, so be prepared with water and supplies, but it shouldn't be anything too challenging for most. I give this area and hike a 9 out of 10 for the dramatic landscapes, so give yourself a few hours to soak it all in. Another thing well worth doing is checking out the area of Santana, which is known for its casas típicas de Santana, which are traditional stone houses with steeped, triangular-shaped thatched roofs. It's a super cute town, and we got an incredible meal that might have been my favorite in the entire island, although it was a lot of food. There's some cute towns to check out in the immediate surroundings, such as Fanal, which is nearby, is a very beautiful, unique town, and you can go go-karting there. There's also the Miraduro Guindastre right there, where you can pass some time with incredible views and take some photos of the great landscape. Overall, I give this area an 8.5 out of 10 for being a beautiful and unique area with cultural relics and great food and views. And the last thing I recommend that you do is eat. Portuguese food in general is probably my favorite European cuisine, given that it involves a lot of meat, seafood, vegetables, and delicious carbs. So I enjoyed getting to explore the cuisines of the island. One of the best and most typical things to try are the grilled limpets, which are like mussels, and make sure to put some lemon juice for added taste. Another typical food item is the bolo de miel. Beyond that, the meats on this island are crazy. Overall, I give the food on Madeira a 9.25 out of 10. If you like meat, seafood, bread, potatoes, steamed vegetables, and wine, it's a paradise for you. Well, that wraps it up for this video. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, please give it a like and hit that subscribe button for more videos. I have a bunch of videos coming out each week, so don't miss out. Madeira is truly a unique place that you can spend a lot of time exploring, and I recommend spending at least 4 days here, and you can spend at least a week getting to know the island and enjoying yourself. You won't regret visiting this beautiful paradise. Muito obrigado. Ciao.